Imagine an angel so full of wisdom and light that even the stars faded in his presence. An angel whose name means God's light. But what happens when that very light is sent into total darkness? Not because of rebellion, not out of punishment, but by a holy command, out of love. Uriel, known as the flame of God, wasn't among the fallen. He wasn't one of the disobedient watchers. And yet he was commanded to go where? Into the abyss. A place so dreadful, even angels turn away. Where ancient spirits are bound. Where the cries of the Nephilim echo endlessly. Why would God send a righteous angel into the very depths made to hold evil? And what was the mission so hidden, so sacred, even heaven dared not speak of it? That's the mystery we're uncovering today. Let me ask you, have you ever wondered if angels carry burdens we could never understand? That their loyalty isn't always joyful? Sometimes it's painful and silent? Because Uriel's purpose wasn't to rescue or destroy, it was to witness. Before we begin, if this story already stirs your curiosity, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Bible Mysteries, and hit the bell so you won't miss another powerful exploration. Let's begin at the start. Before the world fell into disorder, before the Watchers came down and taught forbidden knowledge, before giants walked among people, there was Uriel. Among the 7 great angels, he wasn't the most recognized. He didn't carry a sword like Michael. He didn't deliver messages like Gabriel. But Uriel, he carried the flame of divine wisdom. He was trusted with sacred mysteries. He was the one heaven called when nations were lost, when truth was needed over war. And for that reason, he often remained quiet, watching, waiting until the moment his name was called. Nothing could prepare him for the command that came next. The Creator said, "Uriel, flame of God, go down." Heaven went quiet. The angels stood still. Uriel was not being sent to earth, not to a prophet, not to a king, but into the abyss, the prison where fallen angels scream into eternity, cut off from God. This wasn't a place for a holy angel. This was where justice lived, where mercy had no voice. So why send him? As he descended, the light of heaven faded behind him, not because it disappeared, but because the darkness he entered reflected no light at all. The deeper he went, the heavier the darkness grew. Not just around him, but within. Even angels can feel the weight of sorrow. He passed through the cries of the Nephilim, the offspring of angels and humans, now trapped in suffering. He passed the flaming cells of the Watchers, once glorious, now twisted by pride. And at the edge of the pit, he found them. Want to know what Uriel saw in that place? The truth is more haunting and more beautiful than you might imagine. He stood on the edge of that void, his light not fading from weakness, but resisting the pull of darkness. The abyss wasn't just a location, it was a force, a crushing presence where hope had no breath. Still, Uriel moved forward. So what exactly was this place? Ancient writings, some lost, some buried, refer to it not as hell, but as a special prison, called Tartarus. Not for people, not for ordinary demons, but for angels. Specifically, the 200 Watchers who fell during Enoch's time. They had once been radiant, but they left their heavenly post, took human wives, taught forbidden knowledge, magic, warcraft, weapon-making. They led humanity into corruption. They made the Nephilim, giants, hybrids, souls never meant to exist. And so, they were chained, in fire, in silence, in Tartarus. As Uriel entered, the shadows whispered, "Why have you come, light of God? Did heaven forget us? Will you condemn us or stay with us?" Uriel remained silent, but his silence was louder than thunder. His purpose wasn't to punish. It wasn't to rescue. He had come to observe, to see what was locked away, to witness what mankind would only remember through fading stories. And then, the mystery grew deeper. As Uriel walked among the Watchers, he didn't only see rage or pride, he saw sorrow. Some of them cried, some screamed and cursed, but others simply wept. Their once radiant eyes now dimmed by guilt that time could not erase. And Uriel, God's flame, saw what others feared to acknowledge. Can something once holy feel regret? Could fallen angels ache for forgiveness they'll never receive? And if so, what does that say about God's justice and mercy? One of them cried out, "Uriel, you who know the heavens, why have you come? To mock us? To show us what we lost?" Uriel finally spoke, his voice like fire breaking silence. "No, I'm here because the Father still sees you, not to release you, not to judge you, but to witness." And the pit trembled. Uriel wasn't just a divine figure. He was a recorder of truth, and truth lasts forever. But why was he sent? That's what Uriel quietly asked himself. Why witness the lost? And then the answer came. Not from below, but from within. You were sent to understand what judgment costs, so that when you speak to the prophets, you won't speak with pride, but with compassion. Let that stay with you for a moment. Uriel, God's flame, had to walk through torment not to become like those he saw, but to understand what it means for God to judge those he once loved. Even angels carry sorrow. So think about this. Can real justice exist without deep grief? Can a perfect God look at those he punishes and still mourn? Uriel's journey says yes, but his mission wasn't over yet, because beyond the watchers, he had to meet something older, something even they feared. The first prisoner. Uriel moved past the chained angels, past the ghostly cries of Nephilim spirits, deeper still, into a silence that wasn't just quiet, but hollow. Something ancient was waiting there, something that didn't belong to earth or heaven. Let me ask, what do you think lies at the bottom of creation? Lucifer? No, he still walks. Death? Not yet. Then what? Uriel walked into the final depths of Tartarus, to the first prisoner. There he saw it. Not a man, not a creature, but something like a wound in reality itself. It had no name, at least not anymore, but some ancient scrolls hint at it. Chaos. Before creation, before God's spirit hovered over the waters, there was chaos. Neither good nor evil, just wild, raw, endless power. When God formed the universe, he pushed it back, set boundaries, but he never destroyed it. And deep within the abyss, it still exists. Uriel stood before it, and it knew him. You are flame, you are structure, you don't belong here. The voice wasn't sound. It was pressure, pressing into Uriel's spirit, trying to erase him. Still he stood, not out of pride, but with purpose. He had come to remind chaos, light still sees you. And then chaos asked, why do you shine when all light dies here? Uriel replied, I shine not by my own strength, but from him who made you. That truth split the darkness. Even chaos paused, remembering it had limits. It had a start, and it will have an end. Here's something to consider. What is your chaos? We all have it. The thoughts we can't tame, the fears we hide, the secrets we never speak aloud. Uriel's descent shows us even your darkest part must answer to the voice of the Creator. Maybe your calling isn't to fix your darkness, but to stand in it and not be broken. Uriel spoke no more. He simply stood, not to fight, not to judge, but as a sign that light still watches. Then the Creator whispered, You've seen enough, flame of God. Return and carry the sorrow of the pit, so the world may one day know what love costs. So Uriel turned back, but he didn't rise the same. He had witnessed what no angel was meant to, and when he returned, the others watched in silence, because his light now carried not sin, but understanding. When God called Uriel, he wasn't being sent to preach, to protect, or to punish. He was being sent into the deepest dark, not because he failed, but because he was faithful. He was chosen for his strength, his wisdom, his heart. The command was short, descend. No explanation, no companions, just obedience. And Uriel, though unsure, obeyed. As he passed the edge of heaven's brightness, even the stars disappeared. He entered Tartarus, a place of sorrow, of fire, of judgment, where watchers once glorious were now bound in regret, twisted by pride, consumed by their failure. Uriel passed them, listened to their cries, but didn't turn away. He didn't excuse them, but he mourned what was lost, At the very bottom, he met something older than rebellion. Chaos itself. It tried to break him. Still he stood, because Uriel's flame did not come from within. It came from the one who spoke light into existence. And what did it change? Maybe nothing, but maybe everything. Because sometimes the greatest act is not fixing, but being present, bringing light where it's never been, not to erase, but to remember. Uriel brought back understanding. He saw judgment's price, the sorrow in God's justice, the pain of separation. When he returned, he was not the same. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael. They noticed. His flame wasn't weaker, it was deeper. He rarely spoke of it. But when Enoch was to be shown visions, who was chosen? Uriel. He revealed the secrets of time, the stars, the flood, and the end of days. Why? Because only someone who had walked through darkness could speak of light with full truth. Now I ask you, what is God asking you to walk through? What sorrow must you witness? Not to solve it, but to carry it. Uriel teaches us this. Sometimes the mission isn't victory, it's faithfulness. Standing in the shadow, holding on to the light, Uriel's mission was hidden. Not because it was wicked, but because it was sacred. And now, you know. Until next time, stay curious, stay faithful, and never stop seeking